Welcome again to the set or the kitchen table of the Hills Have Tools here. I'm your host Jason. What we're going to do is take a look at some of the chainmail here that I mentioned in the video last time, how to make it, what tools we need, what materials we need, and a few different designs, tips and tricks, things that we can try with that. So to start with, as you can see here, I've got laid out just the basic tools that I used. I would recommend for people who don't have more tougher hands as far as the skin and your hand strength to use 2 pairs of pliers. Like I said, if you're a little stronger, got a little tougher skin, you can usually get around just using 1 pair of pliers in your hands. As far as the materials for the rings that you see here, basically this is what you'll end up with to start making chainmail right here. What I've got is 16 gauge, what was it here? It's 16 gauge, pardon my loss of memory there, 16 gauge baling wire. You can pick up everything here at just about any hardware store as far as what you need for the tools and materials. What I've got, like I said, is 16 gauge baling wire. What you do is it comes on a big spool, and then to make it, there's several different ways you can do it. For what I did is I just got a 1/4 inch metal rod and then spooled the wire around it. Once I had it spooled up to a nice tight spring, you slide it off, take the tin snips here, and then just snip it up the wire. And then you get a nice pile of rings like this. Some of them may have burrs, but you can clear off that sort of thing later, if it even matters. If you're making something like armor, it's not going to be against your bare skin or anything like that. It's usually going to be against leather or some sort of clothing, so it shouldn't be too big of a problem there. However, the one thing I do want to caution you, though, is if you do it the same way I did, baling wire is incredibly dirty. Because of its intended use, they make it in the factory and spool it up and that's it. They don't clean it off or anything, so it doesn't look like this to begin with. It is actually black and it gets everywhere. So word to the wise, if you're going to make it out of the same stuff, you're going to want to make sure that you can do something to keep it clean. What I did is just, I did everything on a towel and then just washed my hands afterward, and that seemed to do pretty good as far as keeping things clean. I'll show you here the basic pattern. This is what you'll see in armor for movies, games, things like that. This is the basic layout that you'll see in any sort of chainmail armor, say like Skyrim, Oblivion, or any other games, I think Dragon Age, things like that, that will have armor. And this is the layout that you will see most commonly. There are other methods and designs, but this is the most common one here. I'll see if I can give you a good example of it. There we go, and that's the pattern. Just 1 in the middle. It's 5 rings, 1 in the middle, and 2 overlapping on the edges here. And that'll be basically, it'll spread out from the sides and on the top. As long as you just keep that pattern, and you have enough rings, you can make it as big as you want. So now I'll show you an example of some here that I've got. This is just a basic make of it. So as you can see, it just kind of spreads out. It's the same design. Nothing about it changes, regardless of where you're at here. But this is what it will end up looking like. This is just a strip of it. This here, I also want to warn you, it is a time-consuming hobby. So for anybody who doesn't have a lot of patience, this isn't something you probably want to get into because it does take a while. This here took at least about half an hour to make, just this little bit here. As you can see, it's not very big. It's about 2 fingers length. So not for the faint of heart there. Another thing you can do, as I'll show you here, are adding things like this, and this really doesn't change the design at all, but it's a neat little flair as far as dragon scale, something that you will also see a lot of, because generally, like they have in the movies and everything else, it's chainmail, plate mail, dragon scale, and leather. So as far as doing this, it's real easy. What you'd want to get is, I got these online, I did not make these myself here. It's basically, let's see, I'm not sure the thickness or the diameter, but it's brushed aluminum. I got it online. As you can see, the way you put them on is just overlapping, same with almost like the chainmail. And it just goes through 2 rings, and then you go up about 3, and then 2 more, and then you just layer it out and space it so it looks like that. Another word of caution for this, though, is you can do this the other way, but it does not look as good. If you want the pattern to be like this, with all the rings running almost like water going up and down vertically, you do not want it horizontal. As you can tell, because as far as putting the scales together, it'll bunch up the chainmail, it'll make it look funny, and it just doesn't come out very pretty. But doing it this way, it is a much cleaner and nice looking design. Going with this, as you can see here, this was actually a template I did just to see how this would work out, and the end result is this wristband here. It's a little small, so I'm not going to try to slip it on, but this is the end result of something like that. Pretty neat. You know, you can imagine if you made like a breastplate or full shoulder piece, something out of like this. This is what it'll end up looking like. This is the full same chainmail ringlet design that I showed you there, but with scales added all the way around it here. So it looks pretty sweet. A lot of people take it, so pretty good looking. And like I said, these were clean, however the rings were not. Like I said, you gotta wash it, clean it a lot to get it as shiny as this. And even still, imagine this table in my hand will be fairly dirty by the time I'm done with this video, because they just do not ever seem to get clean. They get real nice and shiny, but they never seem to actually get clean. So there's one design, as far as one design idea, more of a wristband bracelet sort of thing. I would make something like this into like a full breastplate, but same was with the chainmail. It's very time consuming. You got to have a lot of patience, and after making just the next piece I'll show you, I just kind of gave it up because it takes so much time. So what I'll show you next is instead of making a full chest piece, I made a shoulder piece. I won't put it on today, but I'll show you basically what it is here. So you can see this is the wrist part, goes up your arm here, and then the shoulder piece where it would attach here and then wrap around your chest here and attach. So this is basically where your shoulder would be right here. Pretty heavy. I'd say it's about 10, 15, maybe 20 pounds. And so you could just imagine the guys back then were pretty built, having to wear something like this and then plate on top and leather underneath on their whole body. So pretty cool there. Like I said, this I didn't get all clean. As you can see, some of this is pretty dark and some of this is pretty clean. But this is basically what it looks like right off the spool here, just about. This is actually a little bit cleaner. See if I can find some dark one here. Here we go. That's about what it looks like right off the spool. So pretty dirty. As you can see, my fingers are already starting to turn black from touching it. And in addition to making armor, the common things that you see with it, a lot of the stuff that you can make is things like jewelry, bracelets, stuff like that. One example here is I took just your standard wallet chain, those oblong sort of oval-shaped rings, and then added just the basic pattern to it with one ring missing. So it's one in the middle and just two on the side. Twisted them around, and it came out pretty nice looking. These are the dirty ones. They weren't clean, so it's just the chain is silver on one side, dark on the other. And as you can see, if you put it over, it makes kind of a cool, wristband, bracelet there. Something, somebody might like for a metal enthusiast, something like that. And actually, it doesn't look too bad as far as jewelry. So a lot of different things, a lot of different designs, stuff like that you can make with it. I guess that's it for the most part for chainmail. If you have any questions, you have any comments, go ahead and post them in the video below. Don't forget to subscribe, like our channel. We'll have future things. I think next probably I'm going to do some showing you how to clean and maintain swords, knives. I've got a few of those I'll show you here as well, using a whetstone, something that seems to confuse a lot of people because it's not real clear, and it's, you can't tell if you're doing it right. It may feel sharp, but it may not actually be sharp, things like that. So I'll go through some of that sometime for our next video and show you how that works. Otherwise, again, like the video, subscribe, hang out with us again sometime. If you have any questions, comments, go ahead and post them in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to read them and reply back.